This is Foundations of Math and Pre-Calculus 10, Chapter 8.2. This time we're looking at modeling and solving linear systems. Modeling equation tips. The clues are in the units and words. We can find this in a graph. On this graph, we can see the independent variable is tickets. And on this graph, we can see the independent variable is time. And we can also see the dependent variables. This one is profit, and this one is distance. We can also determine the slope. Remember, it's rise over run, so this is dollars per ticket. This one is meters per second. If we're given the units for the rise over run, we can also take this and put the dependent and independent variables on the graph. Now, when you read a word problem, the sentences give you clues about the independent and dependent variables by finding the slope. This one says $5 per day. So day is our independent variable because it's dependent divided by independent. So this is our dependent variable. We can have the reciprocal slope. This is I over D. This is not often given, but sometimes it is. And you just have to interpret the words properly. So 4 implies a reciprocal slope in this case. So this one is our I, this one is our D. $2 to make each necklace. So this is our I, independent, and this is our dependent. And we have a divide here, so that is very clear. This is our dependent, and this is our independent. Okay, liter of gas 4. Again, this is a reciprocal slope. So we have independent and dependent. Finally, 20 feet in, this is also a divide. So this is dependent over independent. So don't overgeneralize, but generally per each in usually means divide, which gives us the slope. And there's no easy generalization to detect a reciprocal slope. Here's a list of math synonyms. You can't overgeneralize again, but usually sum, total, increase, gain, more, plus, tally, above, these all mean add. And difference, decrease, reduce, deduct, discount, less, take away, lose, below, that generally means subtract. And when you're reading the words, when you see is, will be, was, are, that means it's an equal sign. So put your variable down. If you see these words, put an equal sign and try from there. If we see times, scale, magnify of product, that generally means multiply. Per, each, portion, partition, group, divvy, quotient, these mean divide. So don't get stuck using just X and Y. Use appropriate letters, that way you know what you're answering when you solve. And customarily, we put the first letter as our variable. If two variables have the same first letter, then you can use a second letter or some other appropriate choice. Time, T, profit, P, sales, S, quarters, Q, cost, age. Okay, that's not terribly difficult. And let's look over a problem here. This is a difficult problem. The numbers are large. You have to have a good graphing calculator, or you can also solve it algebraically. Highlight words. You are allowed to mark up your test. Highlight numbers. So here's a was, are. So these are part of equals. So there should be an equal sign. And how many? That's a question. And how much? That's a question. And we need to create a revenue and a cost equation. So revenue means the money taken in. So this is revenue. That gives you a big clue. So R, revenue, was, that's an equal sign. 695. 695 what? For each iPhone. So we're multiplying by I. The average cost, C, equals cost was 224. And again, it's per phone, so that's I. But there are also fixed costs. So that's on the other side of 21,500 million, and that's 21.5 billion. So we'll put 21,500. Okay, so if they sell 0 iPhones, they've lost 21.5 billion. However, we need to figure out how many iPhones need to be sold to break even. So we can graph this. Again, you can use Desmos if you don't have a graphing calculator, although Desmos makes it a little bit difficult to find your answers with big numbers. And the answer is where these two equations cross, and it's crossing right there. On a graphing calculator, it tells you the exact x value and the exact y value. So we're looking at the x value. And because we're using millions of dollars here, we can use millions of phones here. So this is 45.6 million iPhones were sold. And this is to break even. Now, the next question is, Apple sold 78 million iPhones in 2017 quarter one. How much profit did they make? Okay, so the profit is the difference between revenue and costs. So the profit at 78 million equals revenue at 78 million minus cost at 78 million. In our graphing calculator, you can trace, enter your value, and then read off your y value. So this is 5,4,210 minus 38,972. And we get 15,238 million in profit. And another way to say this is $15.2 billion. That's a lot of profit for selling iPhones. And if you think Apple's going to keep doing this, well, then that's a good stock to buy. And that completes this lesson.